To be a champ, you have to believe in yourself when no one else will. Not kill the one that believes in you, though.
You are now listening to The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast hosted by Kay on Spotify. A podcast aimed to uncover and share the stories behind heinous and insane acts that have been overlooked or overshadowed by mainstream media, getting justice for the voices that can't speak.
What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kay, and I am the host of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. A podcast designed to focus on crimes committed in the Black community that you don't hear about in mainstream media, giving a voice to those victims that have otherwise been silenced. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast with me, Kay, the Texas girl in a Georgia world. Ladies, how y'all feel? Fellas, y'all all right? It's Sunday, July 20th, 2025, and your girl is feeling pretty good, grinding and getting ready for my babies to come back home. Got a few more days of quiet before my little broke best friends return, and they are draining my wallets once again. And Cinderella turns back into a soccer mom, so to speak. Had a couple of, great days this week. Got to celebrate my boss about to get married. We had a nice little outing for her. I got some work done on my book, of course. I'm a little tired, but I got to keep my energy up because after I do this episode, I got to finish setting up my kids' room. Like every year when they come back from summer break, I have their room set up with either, brand new stuff or it's redecorated or whatever. And this year, I have the luxury of redecorating two rooms. Whew. So they got brand new beds, and of course, they got their school clothes and shoes and all of that. And for one of my boys who had a little behavioral issue last year, since he's doing so much better, I definitely plan to surprise him with something that he has wanted for quite some time. Oh, I cannot wait for them to come home. Listen, boys need their dads and all, and I'm glad they get to spend time with their dad and everything. But I miss my little broke best friends when they, with their little begging asses. But at least, I've got the podcast to distract me and keep me busy because the amount of research that was done, especially on this week's case, baby, woo, it is one for the books. Y'all, I came across this very interesting case that I could not wait to bring to y'all. So I hope y'all are ready. But I gotta ask a couple of questions first though, right? Like what you drinking on and do you got your snacks ready? Me, I am actually drinking some spiked pineapple lemonade. I got me some lemonade with some pineapple juice, some rum, vodka of your choosing, of course, and a splash of Sprite. Now, for me, I use the Malibu rum and the AU vodka and then a splash of Sprite with it. Like, baby, it's gonna have you feeling right, okay? And this week for my snack, I'm doing a combination of popcorn with almond M&Ms. So I got that sweet and salty flavor. So y'all got y'all drinks and y'all snacks ready, right? Now remember, y'all got to post the drinks up in the group. Now, on a side note, I am so proud of that group. The members are growing each week. Y'all keep sharing it and, keep having people join. And we just got the chat up for the group because a lot of y'all were asking for the messenger. So now there's a steady mob in chats. I am just really proud of this podcast. Like it is really flourishing. When you do something that you love and you put your heart and soul into it, it shows through the progress, and it shows through your growth. So I appreciate y'all mobbers for real. And as a special thank you, I have a little gift for y'all at the end of this episode. So keep your ears open. Okay. Now, with that being said, y'all ready for this week's case? Let's get into it. Baby, this week's case is definitely one that will have you side eyeing, and you definitely gonna get in a few laughs because the way I'm about to go in on this fool. So go ahead and hop on in and buckle up, baby, because we're gonna take a ride to 2015 in Albany, Georgia, and we're gonna go into the world of boxing. Okay. Now, I love boxing. I did it for many years and still do from time to time, and I marvel at the greats like Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, Layla Ali. Now, that's class because I would have squashed Clarissa's big mouth ass a long time ago. Okay. Y'all, she irritates me. I swear, I don't know what it is about Clarissa, but she just irritates the fuck out of me. Like, she's just so damn extra. I pray that Layla takes that fight for that 15 mil so she can humble the hell out of her ass. Even at 50 years old, Layla will squash her like a bug. Mm, but I digress. Like I said, we gonna take a ride. Y'all know what time it is. Let's get it. This week's case involves Kokisha King, surviving victim, Lisa Amodio Riley, victim, and the infamous murderer of the week, YaThomas Riley. YaThomas Lee Riley was born July 30th, 1982, in Panama City, Florida, to Laureen and Julius Riley Sr. Okay, I'm gonna forewarn y'all now. This little motherfucker about to have a bunch of nicknames because just the name YaThomas, I'm about to have so much fun with this shit. So get ready. Anyways, his parents were very young. Well, his mother was anyway. His mother was 21 and his father was 28 when they had him. So, okay, I want to note that Thomas was the fourth child that they had. They had been married for 3 years. So Lorene got married when she was like 18. I can only assume it was because she had gotten pregnant prior. Julius was 7 years older than her. But the math, whoo, child, 3 years into their marriage and they were already on their fourth child. Yikes on bikes. My hot pocket is like screaming. But Lorraine and Julius, they had a very rocky relationship. With four kids, it's a lot on Lorraine, especially you 21. And it didn't help that her husband was turning into a fucking monster. Like he was, very sweet in the beginning and at the start of their marriage. But one day, he just decides that he's going to quit his job. And that became an issue. And even though he quit his job, Lorraine, she stuck it out with him. She was still there holding down the family and all of that and doing as a good wife should. Listen, I know that's not easy at all, so I applaud her for that. I can most definitely relate to what she was going through from my own past situations. You holding a nigga down, you working, you busting your ass, all of this, and he's just fucking evil for no reason. But even though she was holding the family down, Julius was becoming more and more of an asshole. And see, Julius was one of those types that was very strict and religious. Now, there's nothing wrong with being strict, but he was the type where he used religion for everything. And so the entire family had to follow suit. Like you really didn't have a choice. It was almost like he was losing touch with reality. At one point, he thought that Lorene was cheating on him, and he was constantly accusing her of being unfaithful in the relationship and all of that. And again, I can relate because, good Lord, the same way that they say women hear what they want to hear, men see what they want to see. But, Lorene is trying to reassure him, Julius, it's not like that. Nobody's cheating. You're imagining things. Hell, she ain't got time to cheat with all them damn kids and working. But Julius wasn't trying to hear that. I know you cheating on me. You want to have me out here looking stupid. So he starts beating her. Like, I mean, just outright beating her and belittling her, making her feel like nothing. Lorene, she just can't take it. Before your Thomas turned a year old, Lorene had enough. She told Julius, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of you. I want a divorce. She had even gone as far as creating a will and giving her mother guardianship of her children. Like, hey, she told her, if something happens to me, I want you to take care of the kids and take them because Julius probably killed me. Like, damn. But you know what? That's smart. I always tell people, especially women, have an in case something happens to me kit. I know it sounds crazy, but it can really help law enforcement and ultimately your family because even though the cops, typically look at the spouse or ex spouse anytime there's a situation like this where one of the spouses come up dead, Sometimes evidence is hard to come by. Like, I've had a kit in the past for if something were to happen to me because the person I was with at that time showed a lot of signs that were very troublesome and that made me feel like, okay, this motherfucker might actually try some shit and I'm gonna go out swinging. I'm gonna go down fighting. I ain't gonna just, give in, but I need motherfuckers to know what's up. And if something happened to me, the cops was damn sure gonna come for that ass. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a relationship or you're in a situationship or whatever where you're trying to get out and the person that you're with is basically showing signs that exhibit that you could possibly be unalived, you know what I'm saying? Create you a kit. It can be digital or non-digital. Nowadays, everything digital is better. Save any text messages and emails from that person, screenshot them and put them in a folder, email it to somebody that you trust that will take it right to the cops. I know for me, it's my best friend Joseph. Hey, bestie. But yeah, have as much evidence as possible because if your life is taken, the cops need to know who to get. Send it before shit pops off, though. That's the key. Send it beforehand. Okay. Make sure you have solid evidence in there to support it. Don't just create a kit because you mad at a motherfucker. But anyway, moving right along. So Lorene has divorced Julius and she decided to take her kids and they moved away from Florida City. And she did the best that she could with her and the kids. She moved away and she met her a new boo that decided, baby, I'm going to love you and your kids. That's what I'm talking about. And he was a Navy man too. Whew, listen, men in uniform are so damn sexy. But, things progress and they're going great. And in 1987, she marries her Navy man and they all move to Seattle, Washington. And at this point, Thomas is a little bit older. So now he's starting to form his own identity and do things that may not necessarily always be the best choice. And now they're all the way in Seattle, Washington, whereas his father is still all the way in Florida. And his behavior was just a mess. Like he was always getting into trouble and started cutting up a little bit. Again, parents, we have to pay attention to our children. We may not realize that it affects them when we remove a child from their parent, but it does. And this is speaking from personal experience. Okay. Looking for a book that resonates with your soul? Well, look no further than Author K, a master ghostwriter, storyteller, and author who weaves tales across multiple genres, from heartwarming romance to gripping urban horror. Whether you're searching for a contemporary romance that sweeps you off your feet or street lit that reflects the realities of life, Kay's writing speaks to the heart of every reader. Her work also passionately highlights the Black Lives Matter movement, bridging narratives that matter. Dive into the journey of discovery, empowerment, romance, and connection through Kay's incredible reads. Visit www.mizk.com today and dive into a world of unforgettable tales. That's www.mzkaye.com. Your next favorite book is just a click away. So your Thomas starts getting into a little bit of trouble. He's misbehaving. And, honestly, I feel like his mother, Lorene, pretty much knew from just, raising him and just looking at him at that point that he wasn't going to be shit, pretty early on. I know that's messed up to say that, but y'all can look at some of y'all kids and just be like, yeah, this motherfucker gonna give me some problems. But, like the way that she talked about her son in the interviews, it just really disturbed me because she would say stuff like, "Yeah, I just give up." Like she let it be known, "Oh, he's trouble. He needs to be locked up." All of that. And I'm like, he's still young. Like this was before he even really started to get into trouble. You know, when he was 13, he had asked her if he could go and spend some time with his dad and, go live with him for a while. Baby, the way she packed that boy's bag so quick, she called her ex-husband Julius and was like, "Hey, your Thomas wants to come spend some time with you. You cool with that?" And he was, he was excited. He was like, "All right, let me go ahead and, buy my son a plane ticket." And that's exactly what he did. Summer break rolled around and Lorene was happy as hell. Yup, about to get that young one up out of here. So when he was done with school, Thomas went to go to Florida City and spend time with his father. And in Thomas's mind, he felt like, okay, it's about to be like it used to be with me and my dad. We about to go have fun. And at this point, Julius has remarried and, he had a couple of more kids. Plus, he had started a soup kitchen out of his house. So when your Thomas got there, he was expecting, the dad that he remembered, but it wasn't quite like that. Instead, Julius was stricter than ever. He had given the kids a curfew, which, really isn't a bad thing. Like, I mean, that's structure. But he would give them a curfew. They had a lot of rules that they had to follow. And if you didn't follow the rules, you got the switch. And, Julius's mindset is like, hey, you've been living with your mama all this time. You've been acting a fool living with her because you haven't had my tutelage and my leadership there to show you how to really behave and be a man and all of that. Yeah, y'all living with your mama and you being too soft. But despite all of that hardcore discipline, your Thomas still got in trouble. Even being with his father, he still got in trouble, like always getting into fights, all kind of stuff. Now, his father ended up becoming a pastor at the Gospel Truth Pentecostal Church in Homestead, Florida. And eventually, your Thomas gets a little bit older and he attended Southgate Senior High School where he played point guard for the varsity basketball team. And after a while, I don't know if it was a situation where his father felt like, yeah, you being too much for me to handle, but your Thomas ended up moving back with his mom, who at this point had moved from Seattle, Washington to Ohio. I know his mama was like, damn. So he moved back with his mom to Ohio, and it didn't take him long to get in trouble there either. Once he was there, he decided that he was going to join a gang and be even more of a badass. So it's 1998 and he's now a part of this gang, but he feels like, he's got to prove himself, which most gang members do, or they're forced to rather. And so he makes the stupid decision to drop out of high school. And Lorene is pissed. She's like, yo, you don't have to drop out. You're choosing to drop out. Boy, have you lost your ever loving fucking mind. No, you're going to take your ass to school. But your Thomas wasn't trying to hear it. And no matter what Laureen said, he was just like, nah, I'm gonna go do my own thing. Like, it didn't make sense to me. Like, this boy had it made, y'all. All of the kids got allowances and things like that. But yet he was stealing money from his own mama. Like, he walking around like he Gator from Jungle Fever or Joshua from Jason's Lyric. Like, how you stealing from your own mama, man? Like, that's some trifling shit. And Laureen, she feeling some kind of way. This is the youngest child that she's got with Julius. Now, of course, she went on to have more kids or whatever, but he's the youngest that she had with Julius. And, the older kids like Julius Jr. and his sister Loretta, they're going to college and they're doing their thing, with their lives. But your Thomas is just getting into more trouble. And one day in 1998, he assaults somebody so bad that the boy is put into the hospital and your Thomas gets arrested. He goes to court, and of course, his mama is there in the courtroom, and his father, Julius. He actually comes to Ohio because his child is now about to go to juvenile detention. Julius is there, Lorene is there, your dummy is there. I told y'all I'm about to start calling him some names, but your dummy is there in cuffs. The fucking intensity in the courtroom is so thick you could slice that bitch with a knife. Okay, neither one of them parents was looking at each other. Neither one of them liked each other. Now, Lorene got a good reason not to like this motherfucker because he was beating on her. But Julius got the audacity, the negacity to act like he ain't done nothing wrong of all of the negroidial shit to do. Nigga, you put your hands on me and you gonna act like you don't like me? And I could have had your black ass locked up? Let's see how this about to play out. I really wish that she would have had his his behind locked up though, but I guess that's how it was back in the day. Or maybe she just felt like, hey, as long as I'm away from him, I'm good. But be that as it may, both of them are in the courtroom with your idiot who is all but 16 years old and about to go to jail. And when they're talking to the judge, because they damn sure ain't talking to each other, the judge is telling them what happened. And the judge is like, listen, your son beat this boy to the point that he was hospitalized. He could have died. Your son has an anger issue. And immediately, Julius is trying to blame his mama. He's telling the judge, listen, your Thomas, when he was with me, he did better. I reckon by me being his biological daddy, I gave him more attention. Ooh, that is some shady shit. Just because you shot somebody out your nutsack don't mean that you're a better father. There's plenty of stepdaddies out there that's doing better for their stepchildren, better than the biological parent did. Like, be for real. Obviously, he was living with his mama for a reason. And hell, you ended up sending him back to his mama after he lived with you because your picklehead ass couldn't deal with him either. Oh, but then Laureen, she told the judge, she said, Julius and his son are two of a kind. He had his daddy's genes. He ain't got my genes. If he had my genes, he would be a good child. All my other kids are good. Why your Thomas come out like that? Now, okay, I will say that's some really fucked up shit to say because, ma'am, whether you want to accept it or not, you birthed him, which means he is a part of you. So therefore, Laureen, baby, he got your genes, okay? So both of them basically blamed each other instead of really taking the time out to just focus and say, okay, we need to come together and figure out how we can help our child. But that didn't happen. And the really bad thing is they in the same courtroom with your bad ass, and neither one of his parents could look at him. Do y'all know Lorraine told the judge when he asked about your imbecile's character, she tells him, the boy needs help. He's out of control. Maybe him being in juvenile detention is the right place for him right now. See what I mean by it seems like she just gave the fuck up? But then his fuck ass daddy, the good pastor, he's at the back of the room and he's getting all upset. He getting mad. He's just like, how dare she turn her back on my child? So what does he do for his son? The most ass backward shit ever. He storms out of the courtroom and just leaves, saying that, oh, it's fucked up that his mama left him and that she just gave up on him. But I'm thinking, okay, well, you ain't no better. Like, you headed to get on the Greyhound bus right now because she told the courts that this was what he needed, but yet you didn't offer a solution neither. You didn't offer to take him. You didn't say anything. Like, you literally left. When it was your turn to stand up for your Thomas, where were you? On that little funky ass Greyhound bus. That's where you were. So in 2003, your dummy is finally released from prison after serving 5 years, and he's trying to figure out, what he wants to do with his life. One thing that he didn't do while he was in prison, or one thing that he did do while he was in prison was he learned how to box. I gotta slow up on this drink, y'all. It's got me slurring a little bit. So when he got out, he started thinking, okay, hey, this might be something that I want to do full time. So he gets out and he's in San Diego, California. He's trying to find some direction for his life when he ends up meeting a man by the name of Travis Stocking. Travis was a big promoter, and your fool tells him what he's trying to do. And Travis, he's happy to do it. He's like, hey, I got you. No problem. I can teach you the ropes. So he starts working with Travis, who decides, okay, you know, I'm going to move back to Florida City and start training for this for real. And he didn't immediately move. Like, he was still in California for a while. So while he's in San Diego, he goes for a visit to Florida City, and, he's hanging out with his older sister, Loretta. Now, Loretta had a homegirl that Thomas kinda took a liking to, and her name okay, listen, Imma fuck this up. That homegirl's name is Kokisha King. Now, I'm not sure if her name is pronounced Kokisha or Koketia, because it's spelled Koketia, but for the purpose of this episode, I'm just gonna call her Coco, so I don't fuck her name all the way up, okay? So October 30th of 2005, he meets Coco King. Coco was born August 10th, 1978. Now she's from Perrine, Florida. I couldn't find much on her childhood, but I know she has a sister named Lakeisha, and she went to Miami Palmetto Senior High School, where she graduated in 1996. Before she met Thomas, she had a daughter, Damila, who was born May 8th, 1997. So for a while, it was just her and her daughter. Now, she did end up having a son after that. She has 4 kids total. One of her kids' names I could not find to save my life, but I know she has 1 daughter and 3 sons. So, she has 2 kids at this point, and she was a certified correctional officer for the Florida Department of Corrections. She also was a certified police officer as well. She was actually like training for detective. Like, that's a damn good job. Okay. Anytime you work for the government, listen, the benefits alone when you work for like law enforcement, amazing. Any type of benefits, period, working in any sector of the government is amazing. But yeah. And Florida is definitely one of them states that will forever be hiring because damn, them criminal rates be sky high. Look, shoot, Florida, Georgia, Ohio, Texas, California. It seemed like all my cases come out of them 5 states. Okay. So she had a good job and everything, and she ends up meeting Yaluza through his sister Loretta on October 30th of 2005. And the day that they met, they kind of started chopping it up. They're having conversation. The next day, he took her to the movies and, they hung out. And then it just kind of was one of those situations where it's like, all right, we hang out, we start talking every day on the phone, and then boom, we go together, you know. And a lot of people describe them as the couple that had their ups and downs, but even when they weren't together, they were together, like one of those kind of couples. And while they were together, Simpleton continued training and he started boxing because, he's still considered an amateur, but he's trying to go pro. And by 2006, he's now 23 years old, and he had actually won a Golden Gloves title and was trying to go to the U.S. Olympic team for the 2008 trials. Now, him winning the Golden Gloves and the National Powell helped him get an invitation in August of 2007 to the U.S. Olympic trials. He was going to represent the U.S. in the 2008 Olympics in Beijing. And that time frame, Thomas the Terrible Punisher was born. That was his like boxing name, Thomas the Terrible Punisher. But in 2006, something else was born too. He and Coco welcomed their beautiful son, his first child, Jashawn Riley, on September 28th, 2006. And his son was his world. Even more motivation for him to really, get out there and win it for the US, not just for the US, but for his family. So he's getting ready for this fight. But unfortunately, when the fight happened, he was up against a much better fighter. He got his ass whooped by a 32-year-old Army vet. And your ugly was mad about it. Like he was whining like a little old biz naive. I don't care what y'all saying. I won. This nigga cheated. He had to cheat. So your crybaby did what he does best. He went crying to his daddy. Seems like whenever this fool got in trouble, he would go crying to his pops. Like you ain't learned your lesson the last time. That man ain't gonna do nothing for you, fam. But he's telling his daddy how he was supposed to win the Olympics and how his spot was stolen by this man that was much older than him. Sounds like a sore loser to me. But, his daddy is right there and he's trying to be reassuring. Don't worry about it, son. We going to get you a real trainer. So he introduces him to the former IBF light heavyweight champion, Glenn Johnson. And they're talking, and Glenn is like, "Hey, I think it's a good idea. If you go pro, it'll make you a lot of money. Just, stop the little nickel and diamond shit and just go pro." And that's all your Thomas needed to hear was, "Oh, I'm about to get paid." In February 2008, Travis Stocking, who was your Bubblehead's manager, he gets a call and he tells him that he signed a contract with this guy named Joe DeGuardia and that he's taking his talents to Stars Boxing headquarters in the Bronx, New York. So he's going from Florida to the Bronx. And Travis is thinking, okay, this dude is bad news. Joe ain't nothing but a promoter that will drain the fuck out of you. Like he gonna put you up against boxers that are bigger than you that can hurt you. And then if you get hurt, he gonna tell you, "Hey, you're fine. Go get back in the ring." But you're hideous. He's just like, "Thanks for the concern, but I'm gonna be okay." So he's going to his training and he's, at this point considered a professional boxer. But a couple of months later, the opponent that he was supposed to face for the Olympic trials failed the qualification. And your long head was devastated. And Travis kept it real with him. He was like, "Bruh, you should be grateful right now. Like, I don't know why you wasn't listening to me. You not ready." But he was still there for his boy, still guiding him. And Thomas kept fighting more and more. Fought boxers like Lionel Thompson, Walter Foster, Taiwan Taylor, Andre Hemphill, Julian Jackson, and several others. He was really doing his thing training so that he could take care of his family back in Homestead, Florida. But an even bigger distraction came along that kind of shifted his focus a little bit. And that distraction was Lisa Amodio. Lisa Marie Amodio was born in 1981 to her parents, Joseph and Eileen Amodio. Yeah, I just realized they named her Lisa Marie. Anyway, her family pretty much, described her as the type of person that was very kind hearted and who went out of her way to help others. She did amazing in school, and early on, she decided that she wanted to be a doctor. And so she pursued a career in the medical industry where she went to school. She did her residency at St. Barnabas Hospital in the Bronx, and that's how she came across YaThomas. See, Thomas was still training and getting ready for his next match. So he's at the gym one day and he sees Lisa and he's like, damn, she fine as hell. So he goes over and he introduces himself. And, one thing leads to another and they start talking and getting to know each other. He learns that she loves boxing. And before you know it, Lisa becomes his cut woman. When he would have fights, she would treat his wounds between the rounds. She went from being his cut woman to his fiance because in 2009 they became engaged. But once they became engaged, Thomas gets word that he's got to go back to South Florida so that he can train for his next fight. So he breaks it to Lisa, baby, I got to go to Florida for a little bit. And who's back in Florida waiting on him? Coco. And of course, Lisa wasn't too pleased with this at all. She's thinking, I don't want to just let him go. And of all places to go, you decided to go to Homestead to go see your baby mama? Oh, it was true. He did. He claimed it was because he wanted to see his son, though. Okay. So he gets back to Homestead and he's kicking it with Coco. They all lovey dovey at first. I mean, your Thomas got the best of both worlds. He got a fiance in New York and a baby mama in Florida that still loves him. But, shit don't stay sweet too long. Despite rekindling things, your Thomas and Coco did a lot of arguing back and forth. And then one day, your Thomas got in trouble because of some shit that he did to Coco's daughter. It's June 2009, and Coco's daughter Demila calls the cops and tells them that your Thomas had fondled her. And when she tried to fight him off, he started choking her out. So the cops, they go to your Thomas and they're like, what the fuck would make you do that? And he straight up denies it. Hell no, I ain't touch her. I ain't choke her. I ain't do none of that shit. And I mean, he's highly upset. She's trying to frame me. That girl be lying. And her mama is believing all of this. But the cops, they go ahead and arrest him because he says something a little strange. He says, even though he didn't do it, he did kind of do something inappropriate with her. He was shaving her around her vagina. First of all, what in the entire fuck was the reason for you doing that to a 12-year-old girl?
What was the reason?
Cardi, listen, I don't know, sis. The shit ain't making sense to me because at the end of the day, there is no reason. Absolutely no reason. This girl is 12 years old. 12. Why are you shaving the area around her vagina? Why? What you trying to give her a bikini wax or something? Why are you shaving her period, you nasty? Like, how the fuck could you possibly do some shit like that with a straight face and act like that's not inappropriate? And where the fuck was Coco when this was being done? You know what? I can actually answer that question for y'all. See, your Thomas gets arrested for this shit, but the cops end up dropping the case because Coco goes to them and says, "Oh, she was lying. She was just, she just was feeling jealous because of the time that I'm spending with you, Thomas." Like, girl, are you serious? This man literally told the police that he was shaving this girl's vagina. That ain't something that you just lie about. got caught and told the cops, "Hey, yo, I ain't choke her out. I didn't fondle her, but I did shave around her pussy." Like, why would he admit to some shit like that? But because of that, they end up dropping the case and dropping the charges. Now, off bat, I'm not fucking with nobody that gets me in trouble legally or one that is fucking with my child. Hell, even if it was a lie, if my child felt like they had to lie because I wasn't spending enough time with them, that's a dead giveaway that, hey, I need to fix some shit. Okay? I need to be spending time with my kid. That's a serious cry for help. And obviously one that Coco ignored because, baby, Thomas and Coco was back with each other like ain't shit happened. Like they go together real bad or whatever Carisha be talking about. But of course, everything that glitter ain't gold because it started to get real rocky for the two of them real quick. Okay. And so, literally a year later, after the incident with Coco's daughter and the charges, Thomas and Coco are at her house and they're having an argument. And y'all, for the life of me, whew, according to YaThomas, it was because YaThomas went in her purse and found a letter from one of the inmates from the prison where she worked at, and it had a social security number that was disguised as a phone number. And so he goes to her and he's questioning her. What's this shit I keep hearing? These rumors about you doing this tax fraud scheme with some of the inmates. What the fuck is going on? And Coco's confused and trying to figure out why he's so hyped up. She's like, Thomas, what the hell are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. What tax fraud? But he's going in on her. And according to him, she was just so distraught that he accused her that she pulled a Glock out of the same purse that he got the letter out of and shot herself in the ass to prove that she loved him. And of course, after shooting herself in the ass, that's when he's, all of a sudden kind hearted. Oh no, please stop. Oh my God. No, baby, don't do it. Please, no. And so she then points the gun to her head and tells him how she loves him so much and she's so sorry. And he lunges towards her to stop her and she pulls the trigger, shooting herself in the head. Now, that was his version. Okay. Now, I will say this Coco was definitely shot. Like, that much is true. She was shot in the ass and in the head. But shooting herself, they go to the hospital. And when they get there, by the grace of God, Coco was still alive. So the cops come in and they're talking to her and they ask her, Miss King, was there a reason you shot yourself? And Coco looks at them and she says, Wait, what you mean shot myself? I ain't shoot myself. Your Thomas shot me. She tells the police that your dumbass shot her in a jealous rage. She tells them, yes, we were arguing, but it wasn't about no tax fraud or nothing like that. Your Thomas is just out of control. He did this. He did this to me. Coco was left with permanent damage to her right eye, which in a lot of her photos that I saw on social media, I saw she would like style her hair to cover her eye. She rocked a lot of cute styles too. But with this newfound information, Thomas gets arrested and charged with attempted murder, and he sits in jail. And guess who he calls? His good old fiance, Lisa. Oh, now you want to call her? Like, this got to be the dumbest shit ever because, dude, you are engaged to one woman, but you over here fucking another one. Yeah, that makes sense. Want to see your son my ass. He gets put in jail and he's there for quite a while. Like, he had to sit for 2 years in solitary confinement. All this time that he's sitting in jail, the prosecution is building their case. And all the while that they're building their case, he's telling Lisa, baby, I'm innocent. I'm telling you, man, she set me up. I ain't shoot that girl. You gotta believe me, baby. I need you. And Lisa, she's believing him. Oh my gosh, baby, I'm gonna do whatever I can to help. I forgot to mention Lisa is, of the Wahite tribe, one of the sunscreen suckers. Okay. So she's like, I'm gonna do whatever I can, babe. I've got you. And she does just that. Baby, the way she hit the ground running to free her man, you would have thought she was Nola in Hustle and Flow. I'm in charge, D. Me, I'm in charge. Okay, I gotta do better. My bad, y'all. But Lisa, she's talking to the investigator. She's talking to the media, telling them my man is innocent. My fiance wouldn't hurt anybody. He didn't shoot her. She shot herself. Um, he's literally a boxer, but okay. And at first, everybody's thinking, okay, this is some bullshit. The prosecution, they're building their case until June 2012 when this new story gets published about Coco. Now, she hadn't necessarily made it easy for the prosecution because of how she was moving. And initially, when Coco was questioned, she said flat out, your Thomas shot me. But her details kept changing up a bit. So when this story gets published, it's about this letter that was found at the crime scene. And the letter was dated April 12th, 2010. And it's like spattered with blood, the whole nine. And of course, y'all know I'm going to read it for y'all. Now, listen, my brain cells depleted reading this because I promise you there was not one period in this entire letter, not one punctuation. And if y'all know me, y'all know grammatical errors bug the hell out of me. But okay, so this is what the letter says. Hey, baby girl, what's up with you? I got your letter real late tonight, right when I was about to go to sleep, so I can't get into everything right now about what's up with me at this time because I'm writing as fast as I can before the lights go out. So when I write you again, I'll let you know what's up. Well, what took you so long to write me? I was thinking like my little sister hasn't even wrote me along to see how I'm doing. But I understand. I know you are going through some things right now, but I will always be here for you no matter what. You feel me? Well, before I forget, here is your Serena Williams phone number and her address. So check up on her and see what date she will be going to Liz's house and tell her I said I love her and we'll talk real soon. Okay, love you, little sis, right back. Oh, fuck, that made my brain hurt just reading that. Ugh. Okay, so for legal reasons, y'all, I did not include the phone number and the address because the phone number was actually a social security number and the address is obviously somebody's personal address. But this is what the Miami Times had published. It was what was supposed to be disguised as a phone number, but you could clearly tell that it was a social security number because social security numbers are 9 digits, phone numbers are 10. Needless to say, all of this is starting to make Coco look less innocent. Now, her story is already wavering, and now they find this letter. But even though it's making her look a certain type of way negatively, the evidence demonstrates that her injuries aren't self inflicted like YaThomas is claiming either. It was just because of her changing her story and the letter that they found that it kind of, I guess, hurt her in a way. Not to mention, a few months before the shooting happened, Thomas had sent her a text message saying, I'ma kill you. And then their son, Yahim, who was 3 years old at the time, told the cops, Daddy shoot mommy, which is crazy that he did that shit in front of this child. Like, but unfortunately, they never put that information to the courtroom. Otherwise, I think it could have helped Coco. So they can only go off of the inconsistencies with Coco's story, and they decide to let Thomas go. August 23rd, 2012, Thomas gets released from jail. Psst. Hey, Raleigh, North Carolina. Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Look no further than Southern State Hyundai of Raleigh. Located at 2511 Wake Forest Road, they have a fantastic selection of the latest Hyundai models just waiting for you. Their dedicated team is available to provide you with top notch service and unbeatable deals. And don't forget, ask for Tony McLaughlin. He's ready to help you find the perfect car for your needs. Visit Southern State Hyundai of Raleigh today, where quality meets affordability. That's Southern State Hyundai of Raleigh, located at 2511 Wake Forest Road. And tell them the infamous one sent you. When he gets out, Thomas wastes no time going to the media and telling them how happy he is. He's cheesing all in the cameras. I'm very, very happy. My plan for the day is to spend some family time, relax, and get some food, Chinese food, soul food, any food besides this food. naturally, he and Coco are done. She's moved on with her life and she actually met somebody new because while he was suffering in jail, Coco had another child, a son named Malachi that was born April 20th, 2012. So she's doing good taking care of her and her kids. And once YaThomas is released, he and Lisa decided to move to Albany, Georgia for a fresh start. Lisa got a job in Albany working as an emergency room physician at Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital. And YaThomas decided to start up his own business. He started an auto body shop and then he opened up his own gym, Riley's Boxing Gym. So they're doing, pretty well for themselves. They were able to get them a nice home a year later in Leesburg, where they bought a big four-bedroom house in the burbs. And in April 2014, they get married after, lengthy engagement. And more good news follows because in the fall of that year, Lisa gives birth to their son, Giuseppe. And once again, YaThomas is all over social media, posting pictures of his son, introducing my son to this cold world. God is good. And, their little family is complete. And the God is good became like a little tagline for him in a sense. Like he would post a lot of pictures of himself, whether it be with celebrities like Charles Barkley and you would see the "God is good" tagline. Or he would post photos of him holding guns like his AR-15, and you would see "God is good." He would post videos of his son crawling around, and, he was always posting pictures of Lisa. Like, from the outside world, you would think he was just madly in love with this woman. There was one picture that she had these, like, big sunglasses on, and her hair was pulled back real tight, and she was smiling, and he posted it and was like, "God is good." You know, he posted a picture of the 2 of them in his 1972 Chevy Caprice convertible. They were, like, parked on a bridge, and it was giving off this soft light, which was very, pretty, and he had his arm around her, and the caption said, "This woman in my life, God is good." God is good, but you ain't. And even though things look good on the outside, on the inside, it was far from perfect. Like, clearly it's a trend with this dude. Early summertime, their relationship is, really starting to get rocky. They had been living in the neighborhood a couple of years and they were really kind of antisocial. Like, I mean, a lot of the neighbors really don't know them too well. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that necessarily because it's not like you really gotta talk to your neighbors and everything. But it just got to the point that some of the neighbors were a little concerned because Thomas's behavior was starting to get a little, I guess you could say, crazy. Like, dude was out of control just doing dumb stuff. May 25th, 2015, there were some teenagers that were hanging out rafting on Muckley Creek. And it just so happened that the creek is behind your Thomas's and Lisa's house. And so the teenagers, they're back there one day and they're kind of, walking around the creek. Your dummy sees them from his backyard. So he goes over to them with a gun and tells them, "Hey, y'all can't be passing by my house. Y'all can't be walking through here. That's trespassing." And these are kids. Like, they're just like, "Man, this is just some grass. What you mean we can't be passing by your house? Like, we just walking." So your idiot raises his gun in the air and lets off 2 shots. And the teenagers, they take off. They're scared. Of course, they go to their parents, and their parents call the cops. So when the cops come to ask him about it, he tells them, "Well, yeah, I did shoot my gun, but I ain't shoot it in the air. I told them that they needed to move along, and I got 2 shots in the ground." Like that's any better, nigga. You still shot a gun. But I guess they, felt like it wasn't anything serious enough because they went ahead and let him go on about his business. But Lisa's family and friends, they're really starting to worry about her because they're like, okay, yeah, Thomas is becoming more self centered. He's more controlling. He's jealous all the time. And they were right to be worried because on June 14th, 2015, a 911 call comes in about a domestic situation. Lisa tells the 911 dispatcher how Thomas had threatened to kill her with a gun. Now it was around 8:30 at night when he had forced her into the bedroom closet and put a 44 Magnum to her head, talking about some, "Oh, you cheating on me." And she's like, "Thomas, nobody's cheating on you, baby. Please stop. Please don't hurt me." And he lets her go. But then, like, a few hours go past, and he pulls out another gun and puts it back to her head and he's yelling, I know you cheating on me. I know you cheating on me. And she's trying to convince him that she's not. So then he puts the gun to his own head and he starts screaming and hollering. And she's like, babe, oh my gosh, you're scaring me. You're scaring me. Please stop. This manipulating bastard stops and he promises that he's not going to do it anymore. And Lisa believes him and she lays down to take a nap. But when she wakes up, he's laying next to her and he jumps up, jumps on her, wraps his legs around her neck, and starts squeezing and choking her like he is in the fucking ring. The fuck? Like putting a pistol to her head once again. You already choking her up. Now you got a gun to her head too. And he finally releases and takes off because he know he done fucked up.
No, you done fucked up, right? No, 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 no. You know you done fucked up, right?
You legit put her in a chokehold with your legs. What is that? Like, what's it called? The full Nelson or whatever? Like, this is your wife, your child's mother. Even if she was cheating, it didn't warrant physical violence, especially coming from someone who gets paid to fucking fight. Like, come on, man. What proof did you even have? But just like a coward, after realizing his stupid mistake, he grabs several guns and leaves the house. Lisa calls 911 and the dispatcher answers Lee County 911. And Lisa responds, yeah, I need some officers to come to my house, please. And they ask her, what's the problem, ma'am? And she tells them, my husband keeps putting a gun to my head today. Now, at this point, YaThomas has already done this for the second time. Like he had done it earlier where he had left after promising that he wouldn't hurt her, but then he came back. And so she tells them, please don't hurt him. I think he's mentally ill. He's having some sort of psychotic break. I hope he's not coming back. He's never done anything like this before. I didn't want to call you guys. I wanted to try to get him some help, but I can't. I can't. I can't have him take my life and I'm scared today. It's getting worse and worse over the last few months. He's fixated on my job and the people I work with. There's no reason. There's like literally no reason. It's crazy. And so the cops arrive to the house and they're talking to Lisa and she's hysterical. She's crying right in their faces and all of that. And she's got these bruises on her neck and her chest. And the cops are concerned. They're like, all right, Mrs. Riley, do we need to call somebody? And she's telling them, please just call my mother. So they call her mom, and her mom is trying to talk to her, but she can barely speak. Like she's telling her mother, he tried to kill me. He tried to kill me. They go looking for YaThomas and they stop him because he's not too far away. And he is in that damn noticeable caprice. So they stop him and they ask him about what he did to Lisa, and he plays completely stupid. I don't know what y'all talking about. There was never an argument or nothing like that. But they know better. YaThomas gets arrested once again. But here's the thing, while he's in jail, he's not supposed to be calling his wife. But he calls her anyway and pretends that he's talking with his brother Willie. But really, he's telling her, this is your fault that I'm in jail. You betrayed me. And poor Lisa, she falling for this shit hook, line, and sinker. Baby, you need help. But, you know, she's not getting through to him because he's not trying to hear it. And he's still talking shit. And both of them are now talking to each other as if they're talking like it's his brother, which is crazy. Like she's talking about herself in third person, pretending to be the brother of his. She tells him, oh, she wants you to know that she loves you too more than anything in the entire world. And she's going to work with you through this. And she's never going to leave your side ever. You hear me? You just know that no matter what happens, she's never leaving your side ever. In the words of these little young niggas, what the helly? And once again, the cops let his motherfucking ass go. He gets a $15,000 bond and he has to surrender all of his guns. Now, he was supposed to stay 1,000 feet or more away from Lisa. And originally, the judge wasn't going to give him a bond. But once again, Lisa is playing superhero. And she gets him an attorney who fights for him to get out, even though she's the one that put him in there. Lisa then goes to the judge a few days later and tells the judge that YaThomas was under severe sleep deprivation and asks them to cancel the restraining order. So it's no wonder that things escalated again. This time it's July 9th, 2015, less than a month later, and Lisa and YaThomas pull up into the driveway to their home with Giuseppe. They all get out, they go in the house. YaThomas goes back outside because he forgets something. So Lisa's holding the baby and she walks back out with him, and Giuseppe's on her hip. They eventually all go back inside and she puts the baby down on the ground so he can crawl. YaThomas starts in on her about what she's doing and who she's doing it with. She not trying to hear him, so she goes into the bedroom. And Thomas follows behind her. He's in a jealous rage once again. He's telling her how he's tired of her making him look like a fool and all of this. And she's just like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's telling her all these things about how he doesn't trust her, despite, her not giving him a reason not to trust. Like, I mean, after all, he was the one that was dicking down another chick while she was waiting for him in New York. But go off. She's trying to leave the room, but she can't. He makes her get on her knees, pulls out a gun, and shoots her point blank in the head. And their son Giuseppe is right there in the room. Once once your Thomas is done, he leaves Giuseppe to crawl around on his own and just leaves. And this is where I start to think,
You done fucked up, right? No, 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 no. You know you done fucked up, right?
yes, I played it again. And the reason why I say that he fucked up is because in his home there are video cameras. I guess he failed to remember that part. Who knows? But you got to be a fucked up individual to shoot your wife in front of your kid. He's crawling around and you just do some mess like that. You leave. You leave the house with a toddler. Not even a toddler, but like you leave your son with a dead woman. He leaves the house and he doesn't come back until the next morning. It's now July 10th, 2015, and he's in the driveway early in the morning when he calls 911. Not in the house, mind you, but the driveway. The 911 dispatcher comes on and he's like, yeah, I had just come in from out of town and my wife, I don't know what's going on, but she's in the room and she's got blood coming out everywhere. So they're asking him all these questions. They're telling him, hey, go check your wife. Is she cold? And he's like, well, her feet are cold. What does that mean? Remember, y'all, the baby has been there this entire time. So Thomas gets out. He smears some blood on him, then scoops the baby up like he's playing father of the fucking year. The cops and EMS get there, and he's still, standing in there, and he's acting all distraught. And he's yelling, "Come on, come on, come on, help me!" So he takes them to the room, and the paramedics take one look, and they said, "Yeah, um, Mr. Riley, we need you to leave." And he asked them for what, and one of them repeats, "Go back into the hall for me." And once again, he's like, "For what?" And they tell him, "Sir, she's dead." And here come the waterworks. No, she's dead. She's dead. No. He's acting all distraught and everything, but he fucked up because the cops search him and they find both his cell phone and Lisa's cell phone in his pockets. And that's when they see that there's also video footage in the home because of the cameras. So when they start looking at the video footage, they see that the night before, Thomas and Lisa came home with the baby, and that Thomas comes back out while Lisa is standing on the porch holding Giuseppe. Then they all go back in the house, and Lisa starts walking down the hallway towards their bedroom while Giuseppe is crawling behind her. And then you see her go back into the bedroom, and she's by herself. But then Thomas comes back at about maybe 15 minutes later, and he's just wearing, like a bean t shirt and some pants, but there's blood on the front. So the video footage shows him leaving in his car and not coming back until the next morning. Immediately, they take him into custody. Not for what y'all think, though. They charge him with violating bond conditions because of the fact that he was supposed to have turned in all of his guns, but he didn't. So they couldn't pin him with the murder just yet, but they could damn sure get his ass on that gun charge, and that would be enough to keep him in there. And 10 days later, after collecting a mountain of evidence, combing through all the video footage and all of that, on July 20, they charge YaThomas Riley with murder and aggravated assault, and he is finally put in jail without bond. Phoebe Putney Memorial Hospital does a memorial for Lisa, and they host it in the cafeteria where they put a picture of her out there, like in the little memorial book for her parent for her patients, and all of them to sign. So her parents flew in from New York and they took custody of 9-month-old Giuseppe and they host a funeral for her. And the families are just devastated. Julius Jr., who was YaThomas's older brother, he's just like, wow, I really do not know my brother at all. And I mean, granted, they didn't really have a relationship because, YaThomas was like the black sheep of the family. But Julius is floored. He's thinking for him to run somebody crazy like that, I love my brother, but this is insane. He didn't have to kill her. And that's 100% correct. He didn't, but he did. Now, here's something really crazy. Thomas says he's going to represent himself during his trial. What? Like, the boxing money must have dried up because, man, you can't get you a public defender. I'm just saying, let me know something. Okay. So, Thomas Riley is charged with malice murder, felony murder, 3 counts of aggravated assault, and they backtracked on that ass and charged him with 1 count of aggravated assault for the June 14th attack that happened a month before. They even charged him with 1 count of aggravated assault on Giuseppe by family violence and cruelty to children in the first degree. He was indicted on August 26, 2015 by a Lee County grand jury, and he waited in jail. The next year, June 19th, 2016, YaThomas goes to trial, and Assistant District Attorney Louis Lamb is trying the case. YaThomas is still representing himself like an idiot. The trial only lasted 5 days, which speaks volumes. After the trial, the jury gets dismissed to deliberate, right? And on June 25th, 2016, after a 35-minute deliberation, the jury comes back and they find him guilty. Mm, damn. It take longer to cook chicken than it did for them to find this fool guilty. So he is found guilty, shocker, and he is sentenced to 20 years for cruelty to children, 20 years each for the 4 counts of aggravated assaults, and that's another 80 years, and then life in prison for the murder of Lisa Marie Amodio Riley. And the district attorney was like, listen, the evidence was very strong in this case, so it was easy for the jury to come back with a guilty verdict. It was steep, but it was well deserved. Thomas Riley has never shown any remorse. He's never shown any level of responsibility for his actions. He won't ever hurt another woman again. He won't ever breathe another free breath. And that was our goal, and we accomplished it. Thomas Riley ends up being inmate number 824346 at Hayes State Prison in Tryon, Georgia. After all that went down, Thomas is literally sitting in prison right now. Coco, she moved her family to Killeen, Texas in November 2019, but of course, she now lives in Austin, Texas. Her and Thomas's son, Yaheem, he became a phenomenal football player, and he actually just committed to playing football for the University of Texas. Her oldest daughter has had a baby, so now she's a grandmother of two. Lisa's family has Giuseppe and they're raising him. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Thomas Riley, the undisputed, undefeated murderer of the world. And now it is time for Fair or Foul, where we look at the justice system to determine if the sentencing is indeed fair or if it's just something that's going to have us sitting back saying, what the fuck? Now, y'all already know how I'm coming with this one. You see, I've been clowning this man the whole damn episode, old long faced ass. Life plus 100 years, basically. Fair as fuck for this Ebony Maw from the Avengers villainous in the face looking ass nigga. First of all, ya Thomas, You been fucked up from jump, okay? Now I get it. You feel like your daddy turned his back on you and your mama just gave up and held that much is true. They did. And I do believe that the other children probably got more love and attention solely because they were good kids. You may not have gotten that. But you made the choice to start fucking up at an early age. You had this whole I do whatever the fuck I want to do attitude. And the shit don't always work like that because it got your granddaddy in the face looking ass locked up. The fact that you shot Coco and then lied and convinced your fiance, who you were cheating on, that you were innocent, there's so many layers to this shit. Like you cheated on your baby mama with your fiance, who you then in turn cheated on with the baby mama. And then what in the entire fuck were you thinking touching her daughter in any capacity? She is 12 years old. She don't need your fucking help shaving her. You should have not been anywhere near her in that way. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm mad as hell at Coco too, because you believed that your daughter could do such a thing because she was jealous of the time you were spending with your man. Girl, it is too much dick to be out here neglecting the kids. It's too much dick running around. You can easily get that dick replaced. Spend time with her, bond with her, but never put your child on the back burner for some penis or for a hot pocket. Niggas, that goes for y'all too. Never put your child on the back burner for some pussy. Cause them kids gonna remember that, and then they gonna resent your ass. They gonna stop fucking with you altogether or put your ass in a home. You never know. That's your daughter at the end of the day. And the man admitted to being inappropriate right to your face. Like instantly, relationship over. And if I catch you near my kid again, fam, I'm fucking you up. That's just my sentiment. How the fuck someone so feature challenged this burnt beef jerky looking ass motherfucker could manipulate two women is beyond me. You got off on a technicality when it came to Coco because she kept changing her story. Why she kept changing her story, I don't know. I personally think that YaThomas had something to do with that. But the evidence shows she did not shoot herself. He did it. He shot that woman and was mad when she lived, when she survived, because he had to beg his other chick to help him out. Had they introduced the evidence of Yaheem telling the police that his daddy shot his mommy, or the text message that YaThomas sent her saying that he was gonna kill her, his ass would still be in prison for attempted murder. But now Coco is out here and people are thinking that, she's a liar and everything. But you know what? Seriously, Coco, why did you change your story up so many times? I'm curious. Like it was the make or break for the case and it broke the shit. But the shit that YaThomas did to Lisa, hella foul. It's one thing to kill her, but to do that shit with your baby there, you sick, sadistic motherfucker, you need your ass whooped. You can't claim the care and love for your son, but yet you leave him there all alone. Overnight with his mama that you know is dead because you killed her. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. There's a special place in hell for folks like you. I hope you fry like burnt bacon. It's just too bad they didn't give your ass the death penalty because I would love to see your descendant of Flavor Flav looking ass get that $42 cocktail. I'm so glad that them babies got their mama's genes to give them some looks. Yaheem and Giuseppe are two handsome young men, thank God. I hope that every mirror you come across cracks at the sight of your Underground Railroad slave from the 1800s looking ass. You took advantage from day one of people's feelings, emotions, and all of that. You didn't want for shit, but yet you took. You had a woman that loved you and gave you your first son, but then you go off and fuck around on her. And then let's just say by slim chance you and her had, some type of agreement that you would do your own thing. When you got back to New York, you were still engaged to a whole nother woman. You were still moving foul because you cheated on your fiance who you were actually engaged to and started back fucking with your baby mama. She knew you were going down there under the pretense of going to see your son. Let your black ass call me from jail talking about you were arrested for attempted murder of your baby mama. I ain't helping you with shit. You got yourself in that shit and you can get yourself out. And it's unfortunate that Lisa got caught up in this man, considering all that he had done. I do think there were times where she could have been more vigilant and just really looked at the situation and not turned a blind eye to it. Because, girl, this nigga going to Florida to train and talking about he was spending time with his son. Oh, best believe he was knocking his baby mama down. And you knew it because you expressed concern before he left. And then he started showing his true colors, and Lisa got caught up in it. And, I hate that. Sometimes women get so caught up in a man that they lose themselves. And I think that's what happened here. She had built a life with this man, had his kid, got married, and all of that, only for him to turn into a monster or to really show more of that monster. And that's hard. It's hard because you want to fight and you want to stick it out no matter how draining it is because you love that person. And it's even worse when abuse comes into play. It's even harder, be it mental abuse or physical or emotional. Abuse is abuse and it breaks you down as a woman. And men too. I'm not going to exclude them because they can be abused in some forms as well. But what I know is women typically keep taking it and we take it and we take it, even when we shouldn't. And I truly feel that's what it was with Lisa. She loved this man so much and put up with so much of it until it cost her her life. And it was unfortunate. But now, this Team U Jonathan Majors looking nigga is right where he belongs and can't hurt nobody else. That is all for this week's episode of the Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast. You can follow the show on the various streams on Instagram and TikTok at Infamous One Podcast. That's a number one, by the way, not spelled out. And you can leave a review there. On X, it's Infamous One Pod, where you can also leave a review. On Facebook, you can join the private discussion group, the Infamous Ones discussion group. But please you know what? No. Y'all know the drill. Answer the questions. All of them in order to get into the group. Okay, simple enough. And when you get in the group, come on in, take a seat, enjoy a drink, or tell us what you already sipping on. You can also go to the website www.theinfamousones.com for merchandise or for more information and events like the upcoming Charlotte show that's happening October 25th. Yes, y'all, tickets are on sale right now. It is going to be a whole vibe. Queen City ain't ready. We got my bros, Seven to Panther performing. We got featured vendor and author Risha Tanay with her debut book release that's been hot for a good little minute now. I'm going to have complimentary drinks for everyone. There'll be a signature cocktail so y'all can get your drink on. And of course, a brand new case. And this one is just for Charlotte because it involves folks right there in North Carolina. So I will have my special guest there as well for that. So get your tickets now. They are $50. And if you remember at the beginning of the episode, I told y'all I had something for you. Well, my mobbers, since y'all have made this show such a success, there is an access code that you can use when purchasing your ticket. That access code gives you $10 off. So instead of your ticket being $50, your ticket will be $40. It's for a limited amount of tickets though, so act fast. So what you will need to do is put in the access code Mobbers. Okay. Mobbers. You put in that access code and it will give you $10 off. T-shirts are also on sale on the website starting at $25 each. Tumblers are also on sale for $30. Y'all, they are amazing. I had two people buy one this last week and I can't wait for them to get them. So make sure you grab one while they're available. And of course, I have books for sale also on my book site, www.misskay.com. That's www.mzkaye.com. The show streams on multiple streaming services like Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and so on. So please leave a review. It only takes a few seconds. The reviews do matter. And of course, y'all know I'm about to give y'all a couple of them now. The first review comes from Apple Podcast and it's 5 stars. It's from Jazz Man. I love that. It's captioned, "You deserve your flowers. You are such a wonderful storyteller, Kay. I appreciate your compassion, input on topics, and your sense of humor is top tier. I'm a huge fan of Sisters Who Kill and actually love that your format is very similar to theirs. I love it here. I just started listening 4 days ago from the first episode, and now I'm currently on episode 19. I had to stop the intro because it was so heartbreaking to hear you express that you felt discouraged and likely not acknowledged for all of your hard work. I pause to leave this review and express my gratitude. Thank you so much for keeping us informed of these tragedies and also keeping us company. You are heard, seen, and loved. It's kind of like I'm listening from the past, so I'm excited to binge over the next week and get caught up with the podcast. But I'm actually more excited to hear about how your personal life and the podcast grow because obviously you decided to keep it going and we love you for that. I'm going to shout out the Infamous Ones pod to the whole world. Oh, thank you, Puddin'. This one really got a chick smiling and feeling herself. I really appreciate the kind words because I put my heart and soul into this. And yes, you were right. As time goes on, you'll see more of how the show really grows and still is for that matter. So I truly, truly appreciate it. Thank you. The next review comes from Spotify from Cactus Jane 02, and it says 5 stars. Dr. K, because of your research, storytelling ability, and objectivity, we are blessed to receive these tragic tales and life lessons. If one person's life can be turned around by the casts you deliver to us, you have more than done your job. Please live long and prosper. Yes, for this review. First of all, thank you on the congrats. Yes, Dr. K is loading. By December, I will have my doctoral degree. I have never been so happy in my life. I'm about to have that good old doctor in front of my name. And I love the way you wrote this review, by the way. You get it. I see that. Plus, I love the, live long and prosper reference at the end there. Thank you, boo. If you want to support the show or if you're feeling the spirit, meaning that liquor that we've been sipping on, click the link at the bottom of the screen from whatever app you're listening to this episode on and hit listener support to subscribe. You can also donate via our Cash App at $infamous one pod. That's $INFAMOUSONEPOD. Donations go toward documentation, court documents, inmate sessions, etc. And as always, shout out to the popcorn donation. If you have a case that you want to hear more on that you feel has been ignored in the Black community, if you want to inquire about ad space for our $30 ad specials, or if you want to leave a review, send an email to infamous1pod@gmail.com. Once again, people, please share, share, share. This podcast is growing by the day and it means the world, so keep sharing. Until then, y'all know what it is. I'm your girl Kay. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see y'all next week with a brand new episode. Stay mobbing, y'all. Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Infamous Ones, a true crime podcast hosted by Kay. Be sure to like and comment on your favorite podcast platform and subscribe so that you never miss an episode.